Hello, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker, and today is Monday, June 10th, 2024. As far as the weather is concerned in this area of the country, Kentucky, Lexington, the high today will be around 75, maybe 76, and there are a few clouds, highs in the mid 70s and lows in the low 50s. Huge chunk of Wyoming's Titan Pass collapses. And sunrise today was at 6:14 a.m. Sunset will be, finally got there, 9 p.m. Wind today around 5 miles per hour, and the AQI is good at 26. Currently, the temperature is around 60 degrees here in Lexington. And pollen today will be very high. As I said, I'm Theodore Parker. This is a sideshow. And if you're watching the sideshow on Facebook and Instagram, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Talk about it on WhatsApp. If you're watching the sideshow on YouTube, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And the sideshow coffee cup, black 11-ounce ceramic, dishwasher safe with the sideshow logo on it right there. Good for all beverages, hot and cold. Buy it from me for $17 plus shipping and handling. Pay me through Cash App. My Cash App tag is $TR Parker 1, the sideshow coffee cup. Available to all that are interested in making a purchase. The news over the weekend into Monday. We're going to move around a little bit. In Indonesia, python swallows woman whole. If it wasn't for pictures, I probably would say, well, it's something to catch you. But sure enough, there was pictures of her inside the python. Alert villagers cut her out of the python, rescued her, and took her for medical attention. Okay, the news. First off, we're always aware as American citizens of the United States of America, this country is great, a land of opportunity. People migrate here for better conditions, whether it's, based on work or some other type of oppression or adverse conditions, natural disasters notwithstanding. And we say America is great. But in the context of politics, as it is transpiring in this particular election process, I think it's probably not too often that it applies so significantly or so poignantly as it does right now. And I'm saying this because if we look at Donald Trump, and as I said before, I'm not a person to Donald Trump. But at the same time, with freedom of speech and so forth and so on, he's allowed to have his opinion, verbalize it, and as I add to that, as long as you don't break the law. So here we have, and this has been mentioned before, not by me, but by other reporters and journalists, that Donald Trump has no political career. I first became acquainted with him through the TV show The Apprentice. You're fired. And no military service. Yet somehow or another, in this country, America, the United States of America, he managed to get elected as president. So, even though it's just one term, and boy, did he turn it out. But in one term, he managed it. So, besides the story of his father giving him $1 million and, take it from there, like, don't spend it all in one place. But anyhow, so here you have the elections coming up in November. And after being convicted in a felony case, even though it's considered to be nonviolent in the context of the law, New York and the federal judge involved, he's back on the campaign trail. So if you have anything to say or any thoughts to express, it's not funny about what's going to happen in this country. I think now would be the time to become informed so that you can, not be complaining afterwards about how things went. That's my best advice on that. But considering, how the country, uses the Constitution, and some things are explicit, like, this amendment about anybody that is involved in insurrection cannot serve in office. To me, those things like clear cut statements that border no wavering. But yet, lawyers have taken his cases, even though there's constitutional basis for decisions without much wavering or vacillating back and forth, and put it on the front page just by having to get to court. So, it's like, don't swim here because there's sharks. And you decide, well, shucks, I'm gonna swim because I think I'm faster and smarter than a shark. So you knew I was a snake when you brought me in, so why complain about getting bit now? So, the Constitution is thought of as how this country operates, legally and in other ways for citizens of this country to have their privileges, their rights, and their means of defending those things. So, as they say, to be thought. U.S. Coast Guard seizes $2 billion worth of drugs, including almost 35,000 pounds of cocaine. The U.S. Coast Guard uses the type of boat which is called a cutter because of how it moves through the water. But that's still a lot of drugs. Cocaine, I think marijuana, $2 billion. In this country, I think the last time we had $1 billion bust was when Chapo's wife came through one of the airports in Washington, D.C. And they busted her with $1 billion worth of drugs. That's why she's in jail with him. So, go Coast Guard. J.P. Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo customers lose $456 million in year to dirty little secret called Zelle, says the Senate committee chairman. I'm always, a lot of times, people invite me to try a new app or a new social media platform, or use this way to send money and that way to send money. And a lot of times, just so I can have an opinion that's not based on what somebody told me, I will go ahead and see where it leads. Um, I don't use Zelle. I have one or two means of transferring and transacting business which have proved reliable in the sense not only in the transaction going forward and being completed satisfactorily, but also in protecting me from people that are trying to scam and get to my money, such as it is. You know? So now we have Zelle on the hot seat. And that's a lot of money. And Chase is a prominent bank, and it has made the headlines, Jeffrey Epstein and various other reasons for that. But in the last several years, Chase Bank went from a national banking institution and went international. So now we have some added areas to consider in regards to that. So I'm just saying, $456 million lost through Zelle transactions. South Africa could be the first ever country to provide a no strings attached universal basic income. If you recall, universal basic income came forward in the discussion based on AI taking people's jobs. And I did a program on that, at least included it in it, and showed what jobs would be replaced and what people could expect if AI took over in a manner that people say is possible. So now, out of that discussion, universal basic income would be a means of resolving income for people whose jobs were being replaced or no longer available. So now South Africa is seriously looking at it. They just had another BRICS convention, and this is something I probably came into late as well. When it was initially hit the news, BRICS convention was supposed to be as their top item on their agenda for the meeting, was finding a way to replace the dollar. It's pretty much understood that the dollar is a means of transaction in any country you go into. If you want to do a currency exchange, that's fine. But South Africa itself has like a 30% unemployment rate. Other things are going on. So the BRICS group, they're basically coming together on economics, where they fit in economically, which is not taking anything away from them as far as politics is concerned. But economically, they're trying to find a means where they can not only survive, prosper, but compete to that degree. And especially since Russia has had so many sanctions, that the money that was supposed to be going to Russia is now supposed to be earmarked to go to Ukraine to help rebuild the devastation that the war has brought to them. So that's how things get turned around. But the whole thing about this is they mentioned 99 countries. And I think that's a typo, because if you notice the world map behind me, at the bottom edge, there's flags. And I think all these flags together come to like 98 or 97. And that represents, all the countries in the world. So I think that's like a typo. But nonetheless, be that as it may, South Africa is looking at universal income, basic income. 10,000 human remains found on serial killer's farm, and authorities are still identifying victims. Now, this is a couple of years ago, and I think it's being renewed because it says they're still identifying victims, but it's related to the BTK killer. And it's kind of Excuse me. It is what it is. So anyway, the man's married, he has children, he buys a farm, huge property. And what comes out is BTK, bind, torture, kill, was targeting gay men. And so somehow or another he would curse them and then end up killing them and burying them somewhere on his farm. So one day his kids are out playing and one of the kids finds a human skull. Brings it to the mother. Ergo, an investigation. So the mother gathers the kids, leaves, and starts divorce proceedings from him. He takes off, goes somewhere, shoots himself, dies. So however many years ago that was, this farm is still turning up human remains. BTK, bind, torture, kill, targeting gay men. Jaguar Wright arrested in Dallas for allegedly failing to return a U-Haul truck. Claims it's a plan to silence her. Well, where's the truck now? Okay. Here in Lexington, a week ago tomorrow, Tuesday, and I'm probably including this, there's some other things going on as always, but this was number 6 as far as murders in Lexington for this year. And Newtown Pike is a busy highway. It connects from downtown all the way to 64 and 75 and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But this is like 4:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Traffic's backed up. I'm on the bus. The bus driver gets a phone call. She says that the company is telling her to go a different route and come around. So I'm in a position where I can see flashing lights, patrol cars, everything else up ahead, but I still don't know what's going on. So I get in and, do whatever I'm doing, and then I access the news. Come to find out, somebody has been shot near BCTS Newtown Pike College campus, transported to the hospital, and then died. So now, a little bit of follow-up. The woman pleads to Ohio. This is tri-state area code, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. They find her in Ohio, and the little news clip is an AI depiction. So it shows a white female officer arresting a white female, and then it gives the story. So, broad daylight, right there. But now she's been arrested for murder. Both of them were 48 years old, the man and her. Speaking of video clips, this was one out of all the ones that I perused, look at. Some of them I laugh at, some of them I say, what? But they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and seeing is believing. So here's this story. This is a young woman, petite, not overweight, seems like she's active enough or whatever. So it takes place inside what appears to be a fast food establishment. So it opens up with a white man who seems to be obese, struggling with this young girl. Could be a woman, but I'm taking fast food that, she's in her late teens or early 20s. And they're actually going at it. They're tussling, and he's not respecting anything about her being a woman, first, and smaller than him, second. So he just tosses her around and ends up throwing her this way. right? She slides across the floor. Now, also in the scene is a black man. He's taller than both of them. The woman probably came around to his chest area, whatever. And the white man, so is struggling, so he kind of breaks it up. But the man's demeanor, and the only reason I'm even passing this information on is because when you speak of a man being a man, this is an example to me of that situation. Because he separates what could possibly be the manager, no designation as to position or anything else like that. Separates them. But the way he handles the woman, he gets in what would be a partial full Nelson like that, but he just lifts her arms, and he's not like, throwing her around because she's a lightweight compared to him. And, he appears to be tall, kept all his appointments at the gym, interested in his emotional, mental, and physical health. So he just kind of like holds her so she's like suspended, so she's not swinging at this other white man. So finally, because he's not restraining her, she just wiggles, turns around and pushes him, excuse me, and then cracks him across the jaw. This man is like almost her size twice again, cracks him across the jaw, his head turned, boom. And it's like he just, and that was it. I mean, to me, that's being a man, okay? To know that a woman cannot really defend herself if you decide to really turn on the gas and put the pedal to the metal. And he handled her just like that. But she stepped around him, and the manager blocked her again. And then she acted like she was going to go out the door. Then she turned around, took a running start, hit the counter with one foot, jumped over the counter, and she was behind the counter. Now the white man comes over, he starts struggling with her again. So the black man comes in, he separates him again. Somehow or another, she scooted past both of them, grabbed her pocketbook, and come flying out from behind the counter. She slips and falls. Excuse me, the purse slides across the floor, she grabs it and runs out. This was some video. I mean, it's not too often that a man has enough emotional control not to respond to what is being done to him, especially in regards to a female. And I had several emotional comebacks. I was proud of her for giving so much go. Come to find out it was all about she had been fired and she wanted to get her purse. Excuse me. And they did not want to cooperate with that idea. I was proud of her because she was just a little petite thing, and she was giving them all the go she could give them, and she did not back down. So I was proud of her for that, although it was not necessarily the right way to do things. And then I was proud of him, the black man, for not letting the situation become physical to him, especially in dealing with her being so petite, lively, and full of energy. And the white man, he just caught the back end of everything because she was just giving it to him. So, all in all, probably if I would have said that was not the right thing to do. They didn't want you to give you your purse, but, you did what you had to do with the situation, what you thought at the time you needed to do to get your belongings. So there we go. But my hat's off to you, black man. You handled yourself real well in that video clip. Kyrie Irving made NBA history Mavs Celtics game. Went over for assist. And put himself in NBA history in that regard. Besides scoring points, you know, at one time when Kyrie played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, him and LeBron James were teammates. There was some back and forth during the season when there was opportunities to trade and do other things like that. But now it's Kyrie Irving, Mavs, and Luke Doncic. And the beat goes on. Since I started out talking about Trump and the Constitution, how amazing things can be as we go through our lives daily, here's one from outside the country, Ireland. Meet Lillian Sonoy Barr, a former Kenyan refugee who just made history as the first black mayor of Northern Ireland. Who'd have thunk it? That's it. Hashtag